The man in the water. The rain wasn't falling. It was pounding, cold, brutal and relentless, like the world had forgotten to be gentle. Riley Palmer pulled the sleeves of her oversized hoodie down to her fingertips and tucked her knees tighter to her chest. The concrete beneath the bridge was wet, gritty, and smelled like stale beer and rotting leaves. It had been her home for the past 4 nights, or maybe 5. She'd stopped counting. She shivered and broke the granola bar in 2, half now, half for tomorrow. That was her system. Just as she brought the first piece to her mouth, she heard it, a splash, not the lazy kind birds made when they dove for fish. Not the playful kind kids made when jumping off rocks. This was violent, sudden, heavy. Riley froze. Then came the sound no one wants to hear in the dead of night, thrashing. Desperate gasps, a scream choked by water. Someone was drowning. She dropped. The granola bar. In one heartbeat she was on her feet, running across the slick grass toward the lake. Cold rain stung her face, and sharp rocks tore at her feet, but she kept going, heart punching her ribs. She skidded to the edge of the dark water and saw him, a figure, male, flailing, barely keeping his head above water. "Hey!" she screamed, but the wind stole her voice. No one else was around, no time, no help, so Riley jumped. The lake hit her like ice knives. Her breath was gone in an instant, ripped from her lungs. But she kicked down, pushed forward, arms slicing through the black. She reached him. He wasn't fighting anymore. He was sinking. "Don't you dare," she muttered through clenched teeth, grabbing the man's coat. He was heavy, dead weight, but she wrapped her arm under his and started dragging. Every inch she pulled him felt like her limbs were ripping apart. The rain blurred her vision. Her lungs screamed for air, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. "Hold on," she gasped. "Just a little further." Her foot struck mud, then rocks, then the shallows. Riley collapsed beside him, face in the gravel, chest heaving. The world spun, then blacked out. She woke to coughing, not hers, his. The man was alive. Riley sat up, gasping. Her head throbbed, her teeth chattered, but he was alive. Lying next to her, coughing up lake water, shivering in his drenched clothes. Can you hear me?" she managed to say. He nodded weakly. His eyes were glassy, confused. "You almost died," Riley said, voice shaking with cold. "I know," he whispered hoarsely. He looked at her for the first time. Really looked. Rain ran in rivers down his face. "You pulled me out?" "Yeah." He was silent. Then said, almost to himself, "I should be dead." Riley hugged herself tighter, her clothes soaked through, the cold sinking into her bones. "You want to tell me what you were doing out there?" she asked, more harshly than she meant. He blinked slowly, coughed again, then looked past her. His eyes locked on something in the distance. Riley followed his gaze, and there it was. A mansion, lit. From within, 3 stories high, all stone and glass. Perched on the far hill, hidden by trees, gated, remote, like something from a magazine. That's my house," he whispered. Riley stared at him. "What?" he nodded, still breathless. "That's my house. I live there." "No. Offense, but you look like you crawled out of a sewer." "I was wearing a tuxedo," he muttered. "A few hours ago." He tried to stand, staggered, then dropped to his knees. "Careful," Riley said, steadying him. He clutched her arm suddenly. "I can't go back there," he said, wild-eyed. "Not after what she did." "She?" Riley asked. "My wife." His voice dropped. "She tried to kill me." The words hung there, heavy and wet, then silence, only the sound of rain and Riley's heart beating in her ears. 2 hours earlier, flashback, from the man's POV. There were candles. Hundreds of them. Their glow flickered on the lake's surface, casting soft gold ripples around the dock. It was supposed to be romantic, magical, a surprise anniversary dinner by the water just like their first date. But Oliver Hart hadn't expected this kind of surprise. He'd just uncorked the champagne when Lila smiled and said softly, "Do you trust me?" He blinked. "Of course I do." She leaned in and kissed him, slow, delicate, then she pulled back and pushed hard. Oliver stumbled backward, off balance, falling into the water. At first, he thought it was a joke, until she just stood there watching, not moving, not helping. Her smile didn't fade, it only widened. Now, back to present, she just watched, Oliver muttered, eyes hollow. "Watched me drown." Riley stared at him, unsure what to say. "You sure you didn't hit your head or—" "I'm not crazy," he snapped. Then his voice broke. "I loved her. God, I loved her." "Then why would she—" "I don't know," he whispered. "I really don't." Rain ran down Riley's back, making her shiver violently. She pulled her hoodie tighter, but it was no use. Oliver stood, up wobbling. "I have to get out of here. I can't be found." "Why? Shouldn't you go to the cops?" "If she thinks I'm dead, I have the advantage," he said, eyes blazing. "I need to find out why she did it, but not from a cell, and not from a coffin." Riley looked at him like he was from another planet. "You rich people are weird." He almost laughed. Almost. Then, "What's your name?" "Riley." "You saved my life, Riley," she shrugged. "Guess you owe me." His eyes flicked back to the mansion. "I've got somewhere we can go, but we'll have to sneak in through the old garden path. No cameras there." Riley raised an eyebrow. "We?" He met her gaze. "I need someone I can trust. Right now, that's only you." 1 hour later, the rain had finally eased. A cold mist now hung over the grass as they crept through the woods toward the back of the mansion. "Why are we doing this again?" Riley whispered. "Because I need to know if she's still there, if she's acting normal, if she told anyone. I'm missing." "What if she already reported you dead?" "Then the lie has already started," he said. "Which makes me wonder how many more lies came before." They reached a broken stone wall covered in ivy. Riley followed him through a hidden gate, heart thudding. The mansion loomed above them now, majestic, intimidating, not a single window dark. Oliver crouched behind a hedge, motioning her down. "There's a back study," he whispered. "If I can get to the security system, I can see the feeds. If she's in the house, we'll know." "We? You want your granola bar back or not?" Riley smirked. They crept to the side door. Oliver typed in a code. It clicked open. The inside was warm. Too warm. The scent of lavender and expensive wood filled Riley's nose. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. They reached the study. Oliver moved quickly, pulling up the security screen on a hidden console behind a bookshelf. Dozens of cameras flickered to life. Living room, kitchen, bedroom, and then Lila, sitting in front of the fire, drinking wine, laughing with a man. Oliver's breath. "Caught! That's who?" "My business partner," he whispered. "Miles." They watched in silence. Then Miles said something, and Lila laughed again. Too loud, too carefree, like someone who hadn't just tried to kill her husband. And that's when it happened. Miles leaned in and kissed her, Oliver's hands clenched into fists. "She didn't just want me dead," he said, voice flat. "She already replaced me." Secrets behind the safe. The rain had finally stopped, but the cold clung to Riley's skin like a second shiver. The mansion's warmth inside was almost cruel, a place where luxury and danger tangled in every shadow. Oliver's fingers trembled as he lifted the flash drive from the safe. "Insurance?" Riley asked, curiosity prickling. Oliver nodded, his eyes scanning the room. "That's the key. If this falls into the wrong hands, everything I own, everything I am, could disappear overnight." Riley frowned. "But who's the wrong hand?" Before Oliver could answer, the sound of footsteps echoed down the hall. Both froze. "Hide!" Oliver whispered urgently. They slipped behind a heavy curtain just as the door creaked open. A woman stepped in, tall, elegant, hair pulled back like a crown. her eyes sharp like a hawk on the hunt. Lila. Riley's heart hammered. Lila didn't look worried. Not even a flicker. She moved through the room with calm, practiced grace. Then she stopped, looked straight at the curtain where Riley and Oliver were hidden. "Oliver," she said, voice cold, almost amused. Riley squeezed Oliver's arm. "Shh," Lila smirked. "I know you're here. You don't have to hide." Oliver swallowed hard. "You're playing a dangerous game," he whispered. Lila chuckled, low and dark. "I'm not playing. I'm winning." Her eyes locked with Oliver's. "And you're a fool if you think you can take anything from me." They waited until her footsteps faded. Oliver let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "We have to move fast," he said. Riley swallowed the lump in her throat. "Who is she? Really?" Oliver shook his head. "She's a master of lies, Riley. A woman who built her life on betrayal." Riley wanted to ask more, but felt the weight of the mansion's silence pressing on her. They slipped back through the dark corridors, heading toward the study's back door. Oliver plugged the flash drive into his phone. Files popped up. Names, numbers, bank accounts, even photographs, proof of a secret network. "She's been stealing from me, embezzling millions," Oliver muttered. Riley stared at the screen. "Why didn't you go to the police?" "Because it's more than money. It's my life, my reputation. If I'm out of the picture, she controls everything." Riley bit her lip. "Sounds like you need a plan." Oliver looked up, eyes sharp with sudden resolve. "First, I need to find out who's on her side, and who's really trying to destroy me." Outside, under the night sky, two figures watched from the shadows. "Is he awake?" a deep voice asked. The other nodded. "Good. We move tomorrow." The next day, Riley and Oliver sat across from each other at a small cafe downtown. The sun was barely up, and the city was just waking. Cars honking, people rushing. Oliver looked tired but determined. "I don't have many allies," he said. "I used to trust my business partner, Miles. But now—" Riley raised an eyebrow. "But now what?" "He's working with her." Riley's stomach twisted. "He's helping her." Oliver nodded grimly. "And my closest friends? They don't even know I'm alive." Riley sipped her coffee, thinking. "So what now? How do we fix this?" Oliver looked at her. "You help me." She blinked. "Me? You saved my life. Now, I need someone who isn't afraid to ask questions. Someone who's not part of their world." Riley considered him for a moment. "Why me?" "Because you have nothing to lose, and maybe you have everything to gain." They decided to investigate Miles. Riley spent the afternoon digging through public records, social media, and the few contacts she could find linked to Miles. She found photographs, Miles smiling with Lila, shaking hands with businessmen. But underneath, a darker side. Rumors of shady deals, unexplained disappearances. A thread pulled her deeper, an anonymous tip about a secret meeting at a private club on the edge of town. That night, Riley convinced Oliver to come with her. Dessau club was everything Riley wasn't used to. Luxury dripping from the ceilings, people dressed in designer clothes, eyes sharp and suspicious. They found a corner table and waited. Minutes passed. Then Miles arrived. He spotted Oliver and froze. Riley saw it, a flicker of fear. Miles sat down, eyes narrowed. "Oliver, I thought you were dead." Oliver's voice was steady. "Turns out I'm not." Miles leaned in, voice low. "You shouldn't be here." Riley felt the tension crackle like electricity. Miles looked her over. "And you? Who are you?" Riley smiled thinly. "The girl who saved Oliver." The conversation turned dangerous fast. Miles warned Oliver to walk away, but Oliver refused. He needed answers, and as the night deepened, truths spilled like poison. Miles admitted he'd been paid off. Lila wanted Oliver gone, for good. Miles swore. He didn't want to hurt him, but business was business. Riley's heart pounded. This was bigger than she thought. Back outside, the shadows stirred again. The two figures from the night before whispered. "He's poking around. We have to end this." Next morning, Riley woke to find a note slipped under her door. "Stay out of it, or you'll be next." Her hands shook. Oliver saw it. "We're in deeper than ever." Riley's mind raced, but she wasn't backing down. Days later, they uncovered more lies. Fake bank accounts, forged documents, secret deals designed to bankrupt Oliver and erase his existence. But then came the hardest truth. Lila wasn't just after his money. She wanted to destroy his name and break Riley's trust in him. Trust no one. The city lights blurred through the rain-speckled window of Riley's small apartment. Her hands gripped the coffee mug tightly, knuckles white. Outside, the world seemed normal. People rushing by, taxis honking, laughter echoing from a nearby bar. But Riley's world had shattered the moment she saw that note slipped beneath her door. "Stay out of it or you'll be next." A threat. Simple. Words, heavy with menace, and the person delivering that warning had just stepped into her life with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Miles. Riley stared at the last text she'd received from Oliver. "Be careful. They're watching." She should have listened, she should have walked away, but instead she was caught deeper in a web of lies, secrets, and danger. She wasn't just a homeless girl who saved a drowning man anymore. She was a pawn in a deadly game. The meeting Miles sat across from Riley at a crowded cafe, his posture relaxed, but his eyes sharp. "Why did you come to me?" Riley asked, her voice steady despite the pounding in her chest. Miles smiled, but it was cold. "Because Oliver sent me," he said, voice low. Riley blinked. "What?" "It's true. Oliver reached out, said he needed someone he could trust. To watch your back." Riley studied him. "Was this a trap? A lie? Why should I believe you?" Miles shrugged. "Because I want the truth as much as you do, and because I want Lila gone as much as Oliver." Riley's mind reeled. Could they really be allies, or was this another layer of the deception? A risky alliance. Reluctantly, Riley agreed. To work with Miles, they planned to sneak back into the mansion to find proof of Lila's betrayal. Miles explained there was a hidden room beneath the library, an old safe house his father had built years ago. "If we can get in there, we might find evidence to take down Lila for good." Riley nodded, adrenaline pushing fear aside. That night, under the cover of darkness, the three of them, Riley, Oliver, and Miles, slipped through the estate's secret garden. The hidden room, the garden smelled of damp earth and crushed flowers. They reached a weathered stone bench where Miles pressed a loose brick. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling down into darkness. Riley's heart thundered. "After you," Miles whispered. They descended, the air growing colder and mustier with each step. At the bottom, a heavy metal door blocked their way. Miles pulled a key from his pocket, old, rusted but sturdy, and unlocked it. The door creaked open, revealing a room filled with boxes, files, and a large safe embedded in the far wall. Oliver moved toward the safe, hands shaking. "This is where Lila keeps her real secrets," he said. The truth uncovered. Inside the safe were documents that ripped apart everything Oliver thought he knew. Contracts showing Lila had secretly sold parts of the company. Letters revealing plans to transfer assets to a hidden offshore account. And, worst of all, a file labeled Project Phoenix, Operation Destroy Oliver. Riley skimmed through the papers. The plan was cruel. Lila had been slowly dismantling Oliver's life for months, planting false evidence, bribing officials, and setting him up for a fall. The betrayal ran deeper than money. It was personal. Suddenly, noise. Above footsteps. Someone was coming. "Hide!" Oliver hissed. They scrambled into the shadows just as the door at the top of the stairs opened. Lila appeared, flanked by two guards. She looked angry, more dangerous than ever. "You think you can steal from me?" she sneered. Oliver stepped out of the shadows, defiant. "I'm taking back what's mine." Lila laughed. "Come then, show me what you got." The confrontation words flew like knives, secrets spilled. Lila revealed a bombshell. Oliver wasn't the only one with a secret. She knew about Riley. "Do you think you're special?" Lila spat. "You're just a stray, a nobody who thinks she can play with the big leagues." Riley's heart clenched, but she stood tall. "I'm not afraid of you." The guards moved forward. Oliver put himself between them. "I won't let you hurt her." Lila smiled coldly. "This game isn't over." She turned and left, her footsteps echoing like a death sentence. Aftermath Riley, Oliver and Miles were left alone in the hidden room. The air was thick with tension. Miles broke the silence. "We need a plan. And fast." Oliver nodded. "We expose her, all of it." Riley looked at them both. "Then let's get to work." Cliffhanger later that night, Riley received an encrypted message on her phone. "They're closer than you think." A photo was attached. It showed her own reflection, captured by a camera she didn't know existed, and behind her, in the mirror, a shadowy figure watching. Shadows in the mirror. Riley's breath hitched as she stared at the photo on her phone. The grainy image of her own reflection staring back at her, with a shadow lurking just behind. Her skin prickled, a cold shiver crawling down her spine. "They're closer than you think." Who was watching her? Why? The warning Oliver's message had come through just moments earlier. "Get out! Now!" Riley's hands trembled. She wanted to run, to hide, but the fire inside her wouldn't let her. She wasn't just some stray. She was fighting for her life and for Oliver's. The safe house under siege. Miles arrived shortly after, his face grim. "We can't stay here," he said. Riley nodded. The hidden room had become a trap. "We need a new base," Oliver said, pulling out a battered map of the city. They decided on a small, abandoned warehouse on the outskirts, far from prying. Eyes new alliances, new threats as they moved. Riley felt the weight of every step. She noticed shadows shifting just out of sight. Every alley, every street corner felt like a trap. Miles kept watch, his sharp eyes scanning the dark. Oliver pulled Riley aside. "There's someone I haven't told you about," he whispered. Riley's heart raced. "Who?" "My sister, Sarah." Sarah's secret. Sarah had been out of Oliver's life for years, estranged after a family fight, but now she was his only hope. "She's a hacker," Oliver explained. "If anyone can dig into Lila's web, it's her." Riley swallowed hard. Trusting a stranger was dangerous. But they had no choice. The contact Sarah met them in a quiet cafe, her eyes wary but sharp. She was young, with a fierce determination that reminded Riley of herself. "I've been watching this unfold," Sarah said, voice low. "Lila's got eyes everywhere." She slid a USB across the table. "This has everything I could find. Emails, financials, even encrypted files." Riley plugged the drive into her phone. The information was explosive, the deeper conspiracy. The files revealed a network of corruption, reaching far beyond Oliver and Lila. Politicians, businessmen, even law enforcement were entangled. Riley felt a chill. "This isn't just about Oliver's company," she whispered. "It's a whole system rigged against people like us." Oliver clenched his fists. "We have to bring it down." The plan. Sarah proposed a bold strategy. "If we leak this to the press, it could blow the whole operation wide open." Riley nodded slowly. "But we need proof. That can't be ignored." Miles suggested a risky move. "We infiltrate Lila's next meeting." Riley's heart skipped. "Dangerous, necessary," Oliver said firmly. The infiltration, dressed in borrowed clothes, Riley, Miles and Sarah prepared to sneak into a gala at the mansion. Riley's nerves threatened to betray her, but she pushed forward. They slipped past security, hiding in plain sight. Inside, the air was thick with champagne and lies. Lila moved among her guests, laughing, confident. Riley's eyes scanned for the evidence they needed, the unexpected ally. Suddenly, a voice whispered in Riley's ear, "Looking for this?" She turned to see a man, mid-30s, with kind eyes. He handed her a folder. Inside, documents proving Lila's plans. to seize full control of Oliver's empire. "Name's David," he said. "I'm on your side." Riley felt a spark of hope. A dangerous game, but trust was fragile. Minutes later, Lila appeared, blocking their escape. "You really thought it would be that easy?" Her smile was venom. Riley's heart hammered. They were trapped. Cliffhanger just. As the guards closed in, the lights flickered and went out. Chaos erupted. When they returned, David was gone. And so was the evidence. Riley realized the game was far from over, and the shadows were closing in. The web tightens. Riley's chest heaved. As the dark engulfed the gala, the sudden blackout was no accident. The panic that rippled through the crowd was palpable. Shouts, footsteps, the shattering of glass. It was chaos, perfectly orchestrated. She clutched Miles's arm, his grip steady but tense beside her. Oliver's eyes searched the shadows, trying to find the source of the disruption. But David, the man who had handed Riley the folder, was nowhere to be seen. And the evidence? Gone. Betrayal in the dark. As the lights flickered back on, Riley realized the stark truth. Someone had tipped off Lila. The evidence had been taken. David had disappeared without a trace. Riley's mind raced. Was David truly an ally, or a carefully placed pawn? Oliver's voice was cold as he said, "We've been played." Miles clenched his jaw. "We need to find David, if he's alive." Riley's heart sank. How many more secrets were waiting to be uncovered, back at the warehouse safe? But shaken, they regrouped in their hidden warehouse. Sarah sat cross-legged on the floor, her laptop glowing in the dim light. "I'm tracking the digital trail David left," she said. For hours, they pieced together fragmented clues, emails, locations, encrypted messages. Finally, Sarah's eyes widened. "He's in trouble. Someone's holding him." Riley felt a surge of determination. "We have to find him." A dangerous rescue following the lead. They discovered David was being held in an old industrial building on the city's edge. Under the cover of night, Riley, Oliver, Miles, and Sarah moved cautiously. The building was guarded, but their desperation pushed them forward. Inside, David lay bruised but alive. His voice was weak as he revealed the truth. Lila had been building a secret network to control everything. Money, power, even people's lives. "Oliver," David whispered. "She's planning her biggest move yet. You won't see it coming." Revelations and regrets. David's confession sent shockwaves through the group. Lila's reach was far deeper than any of them imagined, but there was more. David admitted he'd once worked for her willingly. "I was blinded by ambition," he said, eyes filled with regret. "But I never wanted to hurt you." Riley looked at Oliver. "Can we trust him?" Oliver nodded slowly. "We don't have a choice." Lila's next move. Back at the mansion, Lila stood by a window, watching the city lights flicker. Her expression was unreadable. She knew they were closing in, but she was ready. Her next move was bold and terrifying. The trap. Riley received a mysterious message. "Meet me where it all began." It was a challenge. Oliver insisted she stay safe, but Riley couldn't turn away. She arrived at the old lake where she'd saved Oliver. The water was still, moonlight casting eerie shadows. Suddenly, a figure stepped out. Lila, face to face. Lila's smile was cold, almost mocking. "You really thought you could take me down?" Riley swallowed her fear. "I'm not afraid of you," Lila laughed. "You should be." She revealed the final twist, a secret that would shatter Oliver's world forever. Cliffhanger ending. Lila's voice dropped to a whisper. "Oliver isn't who he says he is." Riley's mind reeled. "What do you mean?" Lila's eyes gleamed. "You'll find out soon enough." The truth revealed. The moon hung low over the lake, casting silvery light across the water's still surface. Riley stood facing Lila, her heart pounding so loud she feared it might give her away. Lila's cold smile held the weight of 1,000 secrets. "You think you know everything." Lila said softly, but the truth is far more complicated. Riley braced herself. She had no idea how much her world was about to crumble. Oliver's hidden past, Lila's words cut deep. She began to unravel the secret that Oliver had kept buried. Oliver isn't just the heir to the mansion. He's a man with a hidden identity, a past he tried to erase. Riley's breath caught. "What are you talking about?" Lila's eyes flashed. Oliver was born under another name. He disappeared from his old life after a scandal that destroyed his family. Riley's mind raced. Could Oliver have lied to her? To everyone? Confronting Oliver, Riley and Miles rushed back to the warehouse, where Oliver waited, tense and pale. She looked into his eyes, searching for the truth. "Oliver, who are you really?" He sighed deeply. "I wanted to protect you. Protect myself. I was someone else once. My real name is Michael." Riley felt a rush of betrayal, but also understanding. I needed a fresh start. The scandal, Michael, explained the scandal that had nearly destroyed him. Accusations of corporate fraud, a family broken by greed, and a mysterious fire that left his parents dead. He had fled, changing his identity to escape the past. Riley's heart softened. No wonder Lila wanted to destroy you. The final showdown, armed with the full truth, Riley, Oliver, Miles, and Sarah prepared to confront Lila once and for all. They gathered evidence, leaked the truth to the press, and exposed the corrupt network Lila had built. The city was stunned. Lila's downfall cornered and desperate, Lila's empire crumbled. She was arrested, her power stripped away, but her parting words haunted Riley. "You think this is over? You're just beginning." Healing and new beginnings. Months later, Riley stood on the steps of the mansion, no longer a homeless girl, but a woman transformed. Oliver, finally free of his past, held her hand. Together, they vowed to rebuild, to heal. Riley had found more than safety. She'd found strength, hope, and a new family. The lesson: sometimes losing everything is the only way to find who you really are. Riley had survived betrayal, danger, and fear. Now she was ready to live. The end.